So in the last class we were discussing about molecular orbital diagram of oxygen. So in continuation with this, one more topic is of bond order. How to calculate bond order? Bond order means how many bonds are there between a molecule. Is it a single bond, double bond, triple bond, like this. Okay. So bond order formula is there. BMO means bonding molecular orbital minus ABMO means anti-bonding molecular orbital divided by 2. Okay, bonding molecular orbital minus anti-bonding molecular orbital divided by 2. For this thing to calculate, we should know how many electrons are there in bonding molecular orbital and in anti-bonding molecular orbital. And for knowing this, we should know the configuration. Over the period, through the practice, all the students will come to know or can write this, will learn to write this configuration. So once again, configuration of oxygen, first of all sigma 1s2 and sigma anti-bonding 1s2. Then comes sigma 2s2 and sigma anti-bonding 2s2. In the last class, I had told that s orbital is there, so only sigma bond will be formed. Bonding, anti-bonding. 2 electrons in bonding, 2 electrons in anti-bonding. Similarly, now comes p orbital. For p, 2pz we had taken for z. So sigma 2pz2. After that, according to the energy level, pi 2p x2 is equivalent to pi 2p y2. See, both the pi orbitals are having equal energy, so equal to sign is there and pi subshells are filling up. Okay, it can be z also, but in books it is written, so as it is I am taking. So pi 2p x2 equals to pi 2p y2, and then comes pi anti-bonding, right? Pi anti-bonding px1 and pi anti-bonding 2p y1. Because only 2 electrons are left, one electron will be occupied by both the orbitals, so it will become pi anti-bonding 2px1 equal to pi anti-bonding 2py1. And lastly, pi sigma for this sigma 2pz2 anti-bonding subshell will have highest energy, so sigma anti-bonding 2pz, it is empty, so it will be 0. Okay, sigma 2pz 0. So now we have to calculate how many bonding molecular electrons are there. So in this, sigma 1s2 is bonding 2 electrons plus 2 electron of sigma 2s means 4 plus 2 electron of sigma 2pz means 6. Then pi 2p x2 means 8 and pi 2p y2 means 10. Okay, total 10 electrons are there, but for this sigma 1s we do not calculate the electrons. Okay, we do not calculate the electrons because it is inert. Kk it is written in books because it is Kk shell, we are telling it because it is inert. Every molecule will form this subshell 1s, so therefore during calculation we do not consider it. Okay, so Kk it is written in books. So now how many electrons are there in bonding? 2 plus 2 4 plus 2 6. Okay, sigma 2s2 2 electron, sigma 2pz 2 electron, and okay, for this 2s orbital also it is not taken, so only 6 bonding molecular orbital will be left. We will calculate of only valence shell, that is 2p subshell. So 2pz is having 2 electron, pi 2p x2 is having 2 electron, and pi 2p y2 bonding is having 2 electrons. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. Bonding molecular orbital is having 6 orbital. Okay, this will also be considered in this K shell only. Okay, because these are the inner subshells, they are inert, and every molecule will form these two subshells in same type. So why during calculation of bonding and anti-bonding we will not consider its electron. Okay, if you take it also, the answer will be 2 only. Bond order answer will be same only. I will show you that also, but before this, bonding molecular orbital 2 electrons in 2pz2 to pi 2px2 and pi 2py2, total 6 electrons. So bonding molecular orbital will have 6 electron. And anti-bonding, in anti-bonding only pi 2px1 and pi 2py1, total 2 electrons. So 6 minus 2 is 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. So therefore oxygen total will, both the O2 molecule will have always double bond in it. Okay. Similarly of nitrogen, similarly of other molecules you can calculate. So now if we are taking complete electrons of all the subshells, so see, that will be also true or correct. See, 2 electrons, 2 plus 2 4, 4 plus 2 6, 6 plus 2 8, 8 plus 2 10. Okay, so 10 electrons in bonding molecular orbital. And then comes anti-bonding. So 2 plus 2 4, 4 plus 2 6. So here it will be 10 minus 6 divided by 2 equal to 4 by 2 equal to 2. So again answer comes 2, means double bond is there between oxygen. If the value is 2, then double bond. If bond order value is 3, then it will have triple bond. Okay, in nitrogen this value will come 3, and therefore nitrogen molecule, in nitrogen molecule this value will come 3, and therefore N2 molecule forms triple bond. Okay, from this bond order we can calculate the number of bonds between a molecule. Okay, everybody getting? If we take complete all the electrons also, answer will become correct, and if we take only the valence shell configuration electrons only, answer will also be correct. Any one of the method you can take. Clear everybody? Next, a short topic, a question can be asked. Ozone, O3 is diamagnetic in nature. Why? Because total electrons contributing by the 3 oxygen is 18 electron. See here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18. 18 electrons means it is not an odd electron. All the electrons, while filling the this molecular orbital diagram, we can see that all the electrons are paired, and hence O3 is magnetic in nature. In deep we are not going for this. Okay, just remember that O3 is diamagnetic in nature because total electrons in this ozone is 18 electrons, and 18 electron is an even number, so all the electrons will be paired in their subshells, and therefore it will show diamagnetic nature. Okay. Now our next topic is classification of oxides. Okay, classification of oxides. So in the 4 types it is classified, that is acidic oxide, basic oxide, amphoteric oxide and neutral oxide. Okay, one by one we will take all the topic. First one is acidic oxide. See, in what are acidic oxide? Oxide which dissolves in water to give an acid or base. Okay, oxide which dissolves in water to give an acid. When dissolved in water, it gives us acid or base to give salt and water. Okay, salt and water will be obtained. So how? Example is given. Oxides of nonmetals are acidic, like SO2, SO3, CO2, N2O5, Cl2O7. Okay, all are the oxides. Oxygen is combined with metals. P block elements are there. See, sulfur, carbon, nitrogen, chlorine. Its oxides are acidic in nature. Okay, when it dissolves in water, it gives us acid. Okay, and when dissolved in base, okay, when it is dissolved in base, it gives us salt and water. So for that reaction is there. See, sulfur dioxide when reacted with water, it gives us H2SO3. It is an acid, sulfurous acid, right? SO2 plus water it gives us sulfurous acid. Now when SO3 trioxide we are taking, when it is dissolved in base NaOH, it gives us Na2SO4 means sodium sulfate, which is a salt. Okay, it is a salt plus water. Getting everybody? When this acidic oxide dissolved in water, it gives us acid. This is sulfurous acid H2SO3. And when this oxide dissolved in base, it gives us salt plus water. Okay, from NaOH which salt will be formed? Sodium sulfate and water. Clear everybody? So from these two examples you can remember the definition also and its examples also. Once again I repeat, SO2, SO3, CO2, N2O5, Cl2O7, all the oxides of P block element contribute to the acidic oxides. Right. Now second one is our basic oxide. Oxide which dissolves in water to give base. Okay, when it is dissolved in water, what it will give? Base. And if dissolved in acid, it will give us salt and water. Right, opposite of acidic oxide it will be. So which will be the examples of this? Oxides of metals are basic, like sodium oxide, calcium oxide, barium oxide. Okay, so all the S block element will be basic oxide. So for example, in reaction we are taking calcium oxide. When dissolved in water, it gives us calcium hydroxide, which is nothing but a base. Calcium hydroxide is a base. Now when barium oxide, when dissolved in acid, it gives us barium chloride, which is a salt plus water. Okay, this is a salt. Barium chloride is a salt and water. Okay, according to the definition, when this basic oxide dissolved in water gives us base, and when this basic oxide dissolved in acid, it gives us salt and water. All the X block element oxides are basic in nature. Now third one, amphoteric oxide. Amphoteric oxide means oxide which reacts with a base as well as an acid to give us salt. Okay, it will react with both base as well as acid to give salt. It's called as amphoteric oxide, and the most common example is of aluminium oxide, Al2O3. So it will react with both the acid as well as base. A reaction is given here. Al2O3 when react with base NaOH in aqueous condition, therefore water is added, aqueous is written, so water is added. Al2O3 when reacted with base, it will act as acidic in nature. Okay, what it will give? Na3AlOH6. It is nothing but a type of complex. Right, when square bracket is there and this type of formula or compound is obtained, it is called as a complex, and its name is given as sodium hexahydrate. Okay, hexahydrate aluminate. Okay, ATE will be the suffix. In coordination compound you will come to know about the nomenclature of these complexes also. So here sodium hexahydrate aluminate. Right, when Al2O3 behaves as acid, when it will behave as acidic in nature? When it will react with base, and when it will react with acid, it will react as a basic in nature. So Al2O3 also reacts with HCl and water to give aluminium hexahydrate, Al H2O 6 times chloride ions in aqueous form is released, and the compound form is aluminium hexahydrate. Okay, aluminium hexahydrate, 6 molecules of water are there, therefore aluminium hexahydrate. Okay, charges for balancing the complex. This is neutral. Okay, Al plus 3 is there, 13 group element, therefore Al plus 3. Now last one is the neutral oxide. Okay, neutral oxide. What are these? Oxides which neither are acidic nor basic are called as neutral oxides. Right, this word is important. Neither, which are neither acidic nor basic, are called neutral oxides, and examples are carbonyl group or carbon monoxide, nitrous oxide, nitrogen oxide, etc. these are all neutral to litmus, right? These examples or these neutral oxides are neutral to litmus, obviously, because they do not show acidic or basic character, so they will be neutral. Okay. So now what will be the trend in the periodic table? So trends of oxides in periodic table, by taking the examples you all might be knowing, that Na2, MgO, Al2O3, SiO2, P4O10, SO2 and Cl2O. Which period it is? It is third period, right? Nama, Alsi, Persa, color, short form. So sodium oxide, magnesium oxide, aluminum oxide, silicon oxide, phosphorus oxide, sulfur dioxide and chlorine oxide. So now only I had told you that this belongs to S block. So these are strongly basic and basic in character. Al2O3, now we had seen its reaction, it is amphoteric in nature. SiO2, P4O10, SO2 and Cl2 all will contribute to acidic character, but acidity increases from left to right. So we will tell that as we move from left to right, acidity goes on increasing. Okay, here S block elements are strongly basic oxides and P block elements are strongly acidic oxide. Now what happens down the group? Boron family we are taking, boron oxide, aluminium oxide, calcium oxide, indium oxide and tantalum oxide. So B2O3, it will be acidic in nature. Al2O3 is amphoteric, all of you know. Ca2O3 is weakly basic, and In2O3 and Tl2O3 are basic in nature. Okay, down the group what happens? Basicity goes on increasing, right? It goes on increasing. Down the group basicity goes on increasing, and from left to right acidity goes on increasing. So remember these points. From these questions can be asked what is the trend across the period and down the group also. Okay. So our next topic is of ozone. Everybody knows ozone. When oxygen occurs in the form of O3, it is called as ozone. And simply structure, we can write that two oxygen are doubly bonded, means double bonded is there, and another two oxygen single bond, right? Like this also we can write O3, three oxygens. That compound is called as ozone. So this is an allotrope of oxygen. What it is? It is an allotrope of oxygen. Now where it exists, oxygen in the upper atmosphere absorbs energy in the form of UV light and changes to atomic oxygen, okay, which combines with the molecular oxygen to form O3. It exists in upper atmosphere, and how is it formed? When oxygen absorbs UV light, it forms what? It forms atomic oxygen, O and O. Okay, in atomic level we will write oxygen as O, simple single molecule of O or single atom of O. So this single atom of O combines with molecular oxygen to form O3. Okay, in the upper atmosphere, firstly molecular oxygen absorbs UV light and get converted to atomic oxygen, and this atomic oxygen combines with molecular oxygen to give O3, that is nothing but your ozone, right? Ozone. Now everybody had heard about ozone umbrella. It is nothing but O3 layer which protects the earth's surface from harmful UV radiation, right? This ozone umbrella, what does it do? It protects us from what? From the harmful UV radiations. It protects the earth's surface. Okay. Now how is it prepared in lab? So preparation of ozone in laboratory by passing silent electric discharge through pure and dry oxygen in an apparatus called ozonizer, right? By passing silent electric discharge through pure and dry oxygen in apparatus which is called as ozonizer. Here only 10% of ozone is formed. It is also called as ozonized oxygen. Okay, it is highly endothermic process. Why? Because it absorbs energy. So this molecular oxygen, 3 molecules of molecular oxygen absorbs energy and get converted to O3. How much of heat is required? Plus 142 kilojoule per mole. How much heat? Plus 142 kilojoule per mole of heat is required to convert molecular oxygen in ozone in laboratory. Okay, in an apparatus called as ozonizer, it is done. Okay. Second process, physical properties. Second topic, next topic is physical property of ozone. See, pure ozone, it is pale blue gas. What it is? Pure ozone is a pale blue gas, and in liquid form it is dark blue. Okay, it is dark blue in color in liquid form and violet black in solid form. Right? So all the 3 forms have different colors. In gaseous form it is having pale blue color, in liquid form it is having dark blue color, and in solid form it is having violet black color. Right? Next property, ozone has characteristic smell. So O3 has a characteristic smell if inhaled in concentration about 100 ppm. Okay, ppm means parts per million. It causes nausea and headache. It is diamagnetic in nature. High concentration of O3 can be dangerously explosive because, why? The reasons are because thermal stability of O3 is less than that of O2. Means it is highly explosive, so it will catch fire easily. Why? Because its thermal stability is less. Again, it decomposes to oxygen. Okay, it decomposes to oxygen. It is highly exothermic, that is delta H is negative. Okay, it decomposes to oxygen, that is it is exothermic, that is delta H is negative. So delta G equal to delta H plus delta S. This thing we are going to study in thermodynamics. Equation we can write that O3. So delta G equal to delta H plus delta S is an thermodynamic term in which delta G is free energy, delta H is enthalpy, and delta S is entropy. Okay, this should be negative, that is large negative charge, energy should be there, large value should be there of delta G. Enthalpy should be means negative, high negative value should be there, and delta S, that is entropy, should have positive values. Then and then only large negative values of delta G will be there, and we will conclude that the process is exothermic and delta H, that is enthalpy, is negative. This condition should be fulfilled for an highly exothermic reaction. Okay, this thing in thermodynamics we will be getting cleared more and more. Example, O3 will give O2 plus O. Okay, oxygen, ozone on explosion gives oxygen plus atomic oxygen. Next topic is chemical properties. See, chemical properties. In this, first property is oxidizing property. Oxidizing property means powerful oxidizing agent as it decomposes to nascent oxygen. Right? Ozone decomposes to nascent oxygen. Okay? So it is a powerful oxidizing agent. Okay? Now what is the reaction for this? Which are the reactions? So when PBS, that is lead sulfide, when react with ozone gas, it gives us lead sulfate. What is it? Lead sulfate. Okay? PBS getting converted to PbSO4, lead sulfate, and against it on decomposition oxygen is released. Secondly, when potassium iodide in aqueous state, it decomposes to, on reaction with ozone, it gives potassium hydroxide plus iodine plus oxygen gas is released. Okay, it gives potassium hydroxide plus iodine in molecular form and oxygen gas is released. See, both in the form of gases are released. When NO, nitrous oxide, reacts with ozone, it forms nitrogen oxide. Okay, and oxygen gas is released. This nitrogen oxide, it exhausts from supersonic jet aeroplanes, depletes the ozone layer in the upper atmosphere. Okay, this nitrogen oxide, from where it comes, it is exhausted from supersonic jet aeroplanes, right? Jet aeroplanes, everybody know. It depletes the ozone layer in the upper atmosphere. That means it is harmful. Nitrogen oxide gas in atmosphere, it is harmful. Okay, why? Because it causes depletion of this ozone layer, protective ozone layer. Next property is a bleaching property. Okay, it is a good bleaching agent due to its again oxidizing nature. How is it oxidizes? It decomposes to nascent oxygen and oxygen. Okay, molecular oxygen, nascent oxygen and molecular oxygen. This nascent oxygen combines with a colored matter. Anything colored matter, okay, it turns it into colorless matter, means white color. It gives white color. Colorless is nothing but white color. So we conclude that oxygen bleaches in absence of moisture, so it is also known as a dry bleach. Okay, moisture is not needed, means watery condition is not needed, and therefore it is also known as dry bleach. For bleaching it is used widely. Next property is reducing property. Ozone reduces peroxides to oxides. Okay, peroxides you know, H2O2 hydrogen peroxide, BaO2 barium oxide. Okay, this when react with oxygen, it forms water plus oxygen. Okay, H2O2, it will only give water and molecular oxygen, and here BaO2, it decomposes, get decomposed by oxygen or get reduced by ozone to form BaO and oxygen, right? Barium oxide and oxygen. Okay, these peroxides of barium and peroxides of hydrogen are reduced by ozone to form water and barium oxide, and oxygen gas is released. Okay, this is the reducing property of ozone, how it reduces peroxides to oxides. Next property is ozone depletion. How is it happening? Ozone depletion means, deplete hona means thinning of ozone layer. Okay, depletion means thinning of ozone layer. How is it getting thin? Ozone layer absorbs harmful UV radiations from sun and thus protects the people on earth. Correct? Depletion is caused by what are the reasons for depletion? One by one we will see. First reason now we had seen that NO2, nitrogen oxide, released from supersonic jet aeroplanes, it also causes depletion of ozone layer. CFC means chlorofluorocarbon, nothing but freons, used in aerosol and refrigerators, causes depletion in ozone layer. In polar region, that is mainly in Antarctica also, it is that ozone layer, because of temperature decrease, ozone layer is getting depleted. Again, this depletion of ozone layer, what it is causing? It is causing skin cancer, eye cataracts, genetic as well as immune damage. Okay, these are all the causes of ozone depletion. Multiple choice questions can be asked, which are the diseases, or is these diseases happening due to ozone depletion? So you should know. Okay, freon, this is a new word which is nothing but chlorofluorocarbon. NO2 from supersonic jet aeroplanes. In polar regions also ozone layer is getting thinner, okay, due to global warming. So all this because of melting of ice and all. So all these factors you have to remember. So next topic is ozonolysis. In this, unsaturated compounds, okay, unsaturated compounds or double bonded compounds combines with unsaturated compounds or double bonds combine with ozone to form an addition product, ozonoids. Okay, to form an addition product which is nothing but ozonoids, it get decomposes. Okay, these ozonoids get decomposes by water and dilute acids, and it forms aldehydes and ketones. This process is called as ozonolysis. See, ozonolysis means breaking of ozone. Okay, lysis means breaking. How this ozone breaks? So whenever any unsaturated compound means containing double bonded compounds, it can be methane, okay, ethene, anything, it can be like this. Double bonded compounds when react with ozone, it forms an addition product. So like this it can form CH. This type of compound it forms, okay, cyclic ring structures. This is an addition product of which is called as ozonoid. It get decomposes by water or dilute acids to give corresponding aldehyde or ketone. Aldehyde functional group is CHO and ketone functional group is C double bond O. Okay, this type of structure or this type of reaction is called as ozonolysis, where breaking of ozone take place through double bonds compound. They form addition product ozonides which get decomposes by water or dilute acids to give aldehyde or ketone. Okay, now structure of ozone, very simple. Resonating structure is given. Any of the two oxygen will carry double bond, and another two oxygen will carry single bond. So its resonating structure is like this: 3 lone pair of electron on one oxygen, and where double bond is there you have to give 2 lone pair of electron. Similar resonating structure will be there, and its equivalent structure is 170 degree of bond angle is formed between the 3 oxygen, and 128 picometer of bond length is there. Okay, very simple ozone structure. Now what are the uses of ozone? Here first point is ozone is used for air purification at crowded places like cinema halls, tunnels, railways, etc. Okay, for air purification. Also, because all these are what? Polluted areas. So therefore, there it is used for air purification. Also, it is used in sterilizing drinking water by oxidizing all the germs and bacteria. Okay, that is for filtering water. In that processes also ozone is used. Okay, so sterilize. I think all of you know the meaning of sterilize. Germs and bacteria will be killed or oxidized by ozone. Okay, purified water. Next use is for bleaching ivory. Ivory means everybody might be knowing. Okay, oils, starch, wax and delicate fabrics such as silk. Okay, for bleaching means making it whiter. There, for that use ozone is also used. For that thing ozone is also used. Now last is manufacture of synthetic camphor. Okay, camphor which is also colorless or white in color, we are telling. In that there also camphor is used, and also in the manufacture of KMNO4, that is potassium permanganate, ozone is used as an because it is having a property of oxidizing agent. There it is used in the preparation of camphor and potassium permanganate. So these are the common uses of ozone. You should know or you should mug up. Okay.